Hey there guys, welcome back to another video. We're actually checking out EverQuest Next Landmark today. The alpha for the game was released Friday? Kind of depends on where you are. It was Saturday for me, and at 6 AM. And yeah, I started playing at 6 AM. I didn't stop playing until 1 AM on Sunday. And it's not very often I play games for that long anymore. Very rare. So yeah, yeah, I love this game so far. Essentially, what is this game? Well, it's like Minecraft on steroids. A lot of people won't like that comparison. For some reason, people just hate that sometimes. But it is essentially directly inspired by Minecraft, but it does have a lot of MMO elements planned for it and a few in there already. So it really is a much better version of Minecraft for a lot of people. And I love Minecraft, but it's a game that really gets boring for me, and I think the core game, the actual game, is really just so bare bones, and it's a real shame that it's been kind of neglected in a way by Mojang, because there could have been so much done to that game, and I feel like that game was carried by the mods. If there wasn't any modding in that game, it would have just been so much more boring. But Landmark is hopefully going to be a bit more interesting than that. So far it is. The building system and the actual resource gathering is just so much more amazing, simply because if you've noticed, it isn't made up of blocks. Instead, it's made up of really small blocks. So I guess it is made up of blocks. But those blocks are smoothed out by the voxel farm engine that it's using. This engine was actually created by someone separate from SOE, but SOE went and worked with them and got it implemented into the Forgelight engine, the engine that PlanetSide 2 uses. So now you can build stuff, you can dig stuff out, you can go down a mile deep, and it is amazing. The actual resource gathering feels so much more fun when you're actually digging real looking holes and like pits and things. And right now everything's on the surface, because the underground part isn't really there yet. They haven't completed or added it into the alpha yet, but there's going to be a lot of fun stuff to do underground and digging and mining stuff out. So how does this game actually relate to EverQuest Next, which is a separate game altogether? Well, essentially, EverQuest Next is going to be the proper MMORPG that they're making, and it's going to be a completely separate game. So I think the way it probably went down is they went to make EverQuest Next and they thought, ooh, making it out of voxels might be really great. You can really shape the world, you can have big events to make cities, and each server can end up being individual. So it'll be very much like a sandbox. But they didn't want to just let people go crazy with all of the building tools and just build whatever they wanted, build giant penises outside of cities or whatever. So what I think they've went and done was they said, okay, well, we can't let people just build whatever they want in this game, because it will kind of ruin people's experiences. That people want to feel a bit more immersed in an EverQuest game, a real EverQuest game. So they said, well, we can't put the building tools to waste. Let's make another game where we can just let people run riot in big randomly generated worlds. So it's not really related to EverQuest at all, the actual franchise, but it will obviously have a lot of the elements from EverQuest Next, which is from Norath and stuff like that. So Landmark is entirely its own game. It will have a lot of the elements from traditional MMORPGs though. We'll have guilds, we'll have an economy, and like actual currencies, I believe. So it's going to be pretty interesting. We will have mobs and combat later on. There will be one class, the Adventurer. So there's not a huge amount in the game right now. There's just the main core elements that they want to test out, which is obviously the crafting system, the building system, and the resource gathering system, which are the main reasons why this game exists. So it is kind of fun if you like that kind of thing, but if you don't, then it's probably going to be unbearable. Right now there are 2 servers, and each server you can just switch between as you please with your character. All of your stuff will be saved and things like that. There's no real limitation to moving between servers like you would normally expect, and that's what they're going to be keeping on after the game is launched as well, I believe. They want you to just be able to go wherever you want and meet up with friends on other servers and things like that. There's no real reason to limit people with that. And each server has multiple maps. Now, I don't know how this is going to work in the final game yet. I believe there will be multiple maps, but each map is pretty small right now. I think it could do with being bigger, but I think that might be a limitation with the engine as of right now, because I know PlanetSide 2 is limited to a similar sort of size as well. So I'm guessing that they're going to be increasing that, because they've said that they want it to be mostly just a big persistent world. So, and obviously EverQuest Next will actually have to have those persistent worlds be much bigger than this, so I imagine that will come later on when they've worked on the engine a little bit more. But right now we're limited to these smaller maps, and each map are separated into tiers. So higher tiers will have higher tier materials, so they're harder to mine and things, so you have to have a better pickaxe and things like that. The reason that they're separated right now is because we don't have any of the underground content. I've checked. I dug down and there's nothing there. It's dirt, and they said that. They don't have all of the caverns and things and the cool stuff that you meant to find underground, and it's meant to be separated into tiers underground. So obviously all of those high level materials that are on different maps are supposed to be underground, and they will be eventually. I really want to talk about the building and how incredible all the tools are and things like that, but first I think I have to talk about resource gathering, because that is a big part of the game and there's a lot of it, and there's a lot of mining in particular. I love mining in this game, it's so much fun. There's something about it that is really satisfying. I think it's just because you actually feel like you're digging out bits of the world. Minecraft, I don't know, it's made out of blocks, and you just feel like you're making those blocks disappear. It doesn't feel quite as much like you're really digging out things, where in this you really are. You're making actual natural looking holes. Now at the end of the day, those holes would kind of collapse in real life quite quickly, and you probably wouldn't want to be like kind of digging underground and walking inside of these. Pretty dangerous, but in the game it's pretty fun, and I can really suspend my belief in order to have so much fun with this game. There is also wood chopping as well, but that is it's pretty much standard MMO fare. You know, you just get your axe out, you hold down the left click button and you start chopping essentially. So there's not much to that yet, and it is kind of painful on the hand or the finger, because you're just holding this button down, and some of the bigger trees take ages. They have said though that they're probably going to be making it so that you just click on it once and it kind of just chops it out, because it just is really annoying kind of holding that down. But I have learned that you can hold the button down to start chopping and then alt tab, and the game will just continue to chop and you can let go. So that has came in very handy for my my hand, because it started really hurting after a while. I gathered a lot of wood. That kind of sounded wrong. But I do feel like the game relies a lot more on you spending long periods of time digging out materials and things in order to start building. It's not like Minecraft where you can just get into the game, quickly make a pick by bashing a tree and getting the materials, and then quickly make a stone pick by mining out some stone, and then you just start mining away and you can build a house within 5 minutes really easy. No, it doesn't quite work like that in this. You need quite a lot of material to build stuff. Maybe a little bit too much right now, but I think the way it works is essentially it's going to be more of an MMO feel, and there needs to be a bit of progression to that. So I feel like slowing it down a little bit is a good thing, because being able to instantly make a building or something, it's just, I think it's too quick. So maybe they need to adjust that a little bit, but right now I quite like the idea of you having to work your way up before you actually start making proper structures and buildings. So there is crafting in the game as well, and it's pretty much standard MMO fare. So you go to a crafting station, you click on it, you get a crafting window up, you pick what you want to craft, and you click craft. It's pretty standard, and I was kind of like, I was hoping for something more unique when I first heard about it. In a game like Landmark with all these cool building tools and resource gathering mechanics, but actually when I'm in the game I kind of like it. It's just nice. It's a nice addition to what other building games have done. You know, it's just nice to have that MMO familiarity to it, because everything else is so different. So what crafting is essentially you can progress your pickaxe, you can make new pickaxes and things and objects. Right now you can craft tools for building as well, like your select tool, the smoothing tool and things like that can be crafted with it. You can craft other crafting stations, so you kind of progress through the crafting stations as well, and you can craft actual props to go inside of your house and things like that you make, because essentially you can't really make good looking props with the voxels in the game. It's not going to look really great if you make a chair or something out of voxels, so you can create these props from the crafting system, and you can place them down, you can scale them, you can resize them, you know, like you can move them about, and you can rotate them, do whatever you want with them, and it's really good actually. There's some really cool props in there, and I imagine you'll be able to get more later on. You'll be able to find recipes for these props and things, and it's nice. So essentially the whole progression of the game is based on this crafting system. You can make better crafting stations with the crafting stations you make, so you just get better and better with those through time, and you can make better pickaxes as well, and axes. So pickaxes actually have stats as well, so as you make better ones with the one that you've made before, you also get different stats. So I actually had a really low level pickaxe that couldn't mine out things like iron, but the pickaxe actually had a faster speed than the higher level one that I made that could mine iron. So I could mine things faster with it, and I could mine more of a larger area as well. So it is interesting that you probably will end up having multiple picks and things like that, so you can mine out low level materials much faster, like dirt and stone and things, but you have to have the high level pick to do things like iron and stuff. And also through the crafting station you can craft the different tools that are used to build out actual buildings and things. So you get the select tool as one of the first tools that you're able to craft. You do get a few to start off with, like the add tool, the delete tool, the heal tool, but the select tool is incredibly powerful, and it's one of the most important things I think to start off with. And actually I think it might take a little bit too long to get that select tool. I agree that it needs to be sort of spaced out a little bit, and I like the fact that they have that progression there so that you can learn the tools over time, but it might take a little bit too long to get the select tool because it's so powerful. You can select large areas and tweak which areas are selected in the like little corners of it. It is a bit fiddly right now, but that's obviously going to improve over time, I imagine. So you kind of tweak which areas you have selected, and then you can either delete everything in that area that's selected, or you can copy and paste it. So you can like copy a wall and then paste it, and then sort of rotate that wall, and then use the wall on the opposite side of your house or something like that. So, and it's just so powerful, and it's so much better than anything that I've seen in these building games that have came before. It just makes the game so much more fun to actually build these things out, because you're not spending time on the big bulk of actually placing down tons and tons of blocks, and instead you're able to spend lots of time on the individual details of these buildings and really sort of make them unique, and then just copy the whole thing and then paste it and do it on the other side of the building. So yeah, it's absolutely incredible. You also get things like the smoothing tool later on that is incredibly powerful, and it is pretty much the difference between a blocky kind of building game and this, because you can put blocks down in this game, but then you can smooth them out with this and make them look more rounded and natural. Now you can also, without the smoothing tool, make that happen with all the different shapes. You can get like more of a sloped cube and things like that, and then also the cubes can scale up and down, and you can scale it right down to really tiny cubes that will tend to smooth out naturally as well, but obviously the smoothing tool improves this once you get it. Then we have the paint tool, which again is incredibly powerful because you can make a building out of one type of material, and then if you want later on, you can go and add in the details by adding in different materials and painting them onto the object. So essentially what you do is you select the paint tool, you select the type of material that you want to paint on, and each like material like wood and stone all have different patterns. So maybe you have one type of wood and you want to paint on a different pattern of wood onto it. So then you'd select that pattern then and select the brush type, so you could have a circle or a square and things like that, and then you just start painting it on. And what you're actually doing when you're painting is swapping out the materials as well. So it isn't just painting, you're actually swapping materials with this. So it's really great that you can do that. You can essentially block out an entire building, just a very basic outline of it first, and then go back and go, okay, I need to add all these details on. I want to paint this this kind of material there, and I want to kind of make some more of a bit of a detail on here, maybe add some materials there. It's just so good. I absolutely love it. It's really, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, it's so powerful, because it is, you know, coming from something like Minecraft where it's just placing blocks and placing more blocks. These tools are just infinitely better and infinitely more engaging, so you can have so much fun. I mean, the things that people have made in Minecraft are incredible. Some of the buildings are amazing. Out of these, all these blocks that are all the same size, and you know, just essentially placing these blocks on top of each other. Imagine what can be made in Landmark by these talented people, because I mean, I'm terrible. I made a cottage earlier on, which was alright. I managed to get in really early and I started building really quickly, so I managed to get a cottage kind of blocked out and I was ready to put all the detail on, but the servers went down and unfortunately all the claims were rolled back, so I couldn't finish it off. But yeah, I kind of liked it because I could make, like, I made a cool chimney stack, and I was making an underground bit underneath a little basement, and it was just so much fun. So on that note as well, we actually haven't talked about claims. Claims are very important. They're essentially the plots of land that you can build on, and you have full control over these little areas of land. So right now you can only have one claim. You start out with the claim in the alpha, and essentially you just place it where you want. You can't place it near other people's claims right now. There's massive buffer zones between them, obviously to space them out so you don't get people just sort of all bunched up together. But I feel like the buffer zones are way too big, and it kind of makes things really hard to find a spot, and it looks a bit too spread out. I'd like to see more clusters of different builds and things like that. But later on you will be able to allow people to build in your area if you want. You can make it public or just make it for friends or guild members. You can join, you will be able to get more claims and join them together, so you can have extra claims and just make a really big area for you to build on. And I imagine you'll be able to allow guild members to claim within your buffer zone as well, so you can make little towns and villages and things like that. It's going to be really awesome, but right now it's really basic. You just get a claim flag, you place it down where you can find a claim, which is pretty hard right now. I got in early, so I was lucky enough to get a decent spot. But yeah, everything is really full right now. It's incredibly hard getting a claim spot. Never mind a decent one. You really just, you're kind of getting scraps right now if you're just getting into the game. So hopefully they sort that out and make it a little bit easier to claim closer to other people, I think. But essentially you need a claim to do anything in the game, because you can't build outside of a claim, or you can, but the world will regenerate over time. So that's to prevent people from really messing up the world and making it look ridiculous, and so that when you mine out mineral and things in the earth and all the copper and stuff, they will regenerate eventually. They won't regenerate in the same place though, which is nice. There's not like copper nodes. The actual world just kind of regenerates procedurally, so you can get different materials in the same area. So yeah, it's good. I really like it, how it works like that, because the world doesn't look like a complete mess. But I hope they do sort it out so that we can get like more villages and things started, because it looks a bit too sparsely populated at the minute. So that's pretty much everything that's in the game right now, so it is pretty bare bones, but if you like building games, it's so much fun. I love it. I'm not very creative, but I love it. I just enjoy the sense of achievement of just gathering stuff and putting them together and testing out the tools, because the tool system is so in depth that it takes a little while to really get used to them and start working with them really well. So my first claim disappeared, and obviously it was rolled back because of the server issues. But I wasn't too bothered because now I can start again from scratch, knowing all of the different quirks and things with the tools I have right now. So it's great. If you want to actually get into the game right now, you can pay for the Founders Pack. Either the $60 or the $100 packs get you into the alpha. The $20 pack will get you into the beta later on down the line. But do bear in mind it is an alpha. It's a real alpha. There are issues with it. I could play just fine on the first day. I played pretty much solid from like 6 AM till on Saturday till 1 AM on Friday, Sunday even. But the day after that, when they took the servers down, there was a load of issues. My stuff got rolled back, and it's actually been rolled back a couple of times since then. It had loads of issues on Sunday, and the servers were really laggy at times. The servers went down a few times, and there's a lot of bugs. There's some people end up missing their claim flags, so they can't claim anything, things like that. So expect to have that in the game, and expect there to be a lot of content that isn't there. Obviously it's pretty bare bones, but if you don't mind all that, I personally don't. I've played tons and tons of betas, and I actually enjoy seeing the game being built up, and I really love that, and I just enjoy covering the game, so I really wanted to do that. So, and I like being in early and just testing out all the stuff and helping them build a really good game at the end of the day. So if you like all that stuff, then by all means try and get in by purchasing a Founders Pack. I will say though, you can also sign up for a key as well, but that obviously is a luck of the draw, and it's pretty random, and there's probably not a whole lot of people in that with keys at the minute, because they obviously have tons and tons of founders that are in the game right now. So it's pretty full. They're putting up some new servers today, I think, but yeah, it's pretty damn full, and there's not a lot of stuff to claim right now. That is all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you want more Landmark or EverQuest next, then feel free to let me know. I'm sure I'll be happy to do more videos. I'll probably be doing little bits and pieces more at least anyway, because I'm having so much fun with it. But yeah, of course, PlanetSide 2, that'll be coming up. I've been playing quite a bit of that, and there's a lot of updates coming up that are going to be really interesting. February's roadmap even looks pretty good, so we'll see about that. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you again very soon.